São Paulo took the field with a reserve lineup, but managed to secure the lead, right? They held on to the top spot in the Copa Sudamericana and leave Bogota with a draw. So they didn't lose, they remain unbeaten in the competition, and on top of that, they're still the leaders and have an advantage. It was pretty much the kind of game everyone expected. Here's the thing: Sao Paulo is still alive in three competitions. As everyone knows, they're competing in three tournaments. In this case, the Brazilian Championship, which is the team's main priority this season, right? Roger Machado wants to keep the team in fourth place. There was a recent fluctuation in results that really increased the pressure on Roger. So, both he and the board understand that in fact all efforts should be focused on the Brazilian Championship. They want to secure a spot in the Libertadores next year. There's the Copa do Brazil, which will have a decisive match in about 2 weeks, right, starting in the second half of May. They'll face Juventude and Caxias away from home with a 1-goal advantage. And the Copa Sudamericana, where they already had 2 wins, right, against Orings and against Buster River. And it was already expected that this game against Millonarios would be approached with a more rotated lineup, right? So what did Roger Machado do? He changed the entire team, including the goalkeeper, right? Rafael is the only player who started in every game this season. He didn't even travel to Bogota, where the match took place this Tuesday. And Carlos Coronel finally made his debut. And he's a player who's keeping an eye on the World Cup, right? He has dual nationality. So he's looking at these opportunities as a way to get more minutes on the field. And Roger Machado is really betting on the Cotia Academy players, right? That's the way he likes to work. He had already shown that he really wanted to use these young players from the academy, right? So he made some moves you don't see that often, like, for example, Jorge, right, as the starter. Luan himself, who is a Coaching Academy product with a little more experience, right? He's been on the professional squad for about 4 years now, but without much playing time. He was a starter too. The attack changed, almost the whole team changed, really focusing on giving these boys space and minutes. As the match went on, players like Luca also came onto the field. On the bench, Osorio, Hugo were listed, and the Paulinhos were also listed. So São Paulo went onto the field betting on the Cotia Academy players. A heavily rotated squad, mainly thinking about preserving the players. But talking about the match itself, São Paulo started off controlling play a bit in the beginning of the first half, mainly, right? Millonarios is not a tactically well-structured team. It's a team with a lot of flaws, but São Paulo ended up making some mistakes in that regard, especially in the first half. They didn't know how to take advantage of those spaces, those tactical issues, those tactical problems of the Colombian team. You could see that there was a pretty significant difference in technical level. It was showing on the field, right? In the first half, São Paulo couldn't link midfield to attack, which really hurt the team. So São Paulo couldn't create much. They didn't have many opportunities. In the second half, some changes were made. The main highlight was especially Bobadilla coming on, right? Bobadilla has been one of the most consistent players for São Paulo this season. He created the most difficult, most dangerous chance to open the scoring during the game. But the main highlight was, especially because of a save by Carlos Coronel, which happened in stoppage time of the second half, at a moment when Millonarios was managing to have a bit more control, keeping the ball at their feet a little longer and pressing hard. Angulo fired a rocket. And Carlos Coronel had a good debut. He managed to hold on. He managed to save the match from a possible defeat. So São Paulo goes home, not with a perfect game, not with an amazing game. However, doing what was necessary, right? So they still leave in the lead. They have 7 points. They have a good lead, so they have an advantage over their opponents with a rotated lineup without compromising the starters, who are keeping an eye on the Brazilian Championship. The round takes place this Sunday in Bragança Paulista, not at Morumbi's, because the stadium has been hosting a series of concerts by the weekend. A reunion with Bahia, coached by Rogério Senna. São Paulo, which is currently in 4th place in the standings, is trying to improve a bit. They are coming off a win against Mirassol. However, that's the expectation for this weekend. The expectation is that the team will go with its strongest lineup. So some players actually stayed in Brazil, not just the goalkeeper Rafael, but also Caleri, Luciano, and Danielzinho, who are very important members of the squad. 50% of São Paulo's goals this season. They come from the duo Luciano and Caleri, who were rested for this match. That's exactly because the São Paulo squad is focused on the Brazilian Championship. And Jorge Machado is talking about pressure, right? About being fired or not being fired. That has been a very frequent topic lately. Now things are a bit lighter, even with the fans, right? Who still don't fully trust the work being done. But with the management, right? The management is supporting his work. They believe he needs a little more time to see, to understand, to develop. But with the pressure eased a bit, compared to what was being seen, for example, last week, São Paulo will be away from Morumbis for almost a month. This is exactly so he can have a bit of a better gauge when he returns, right? He was received with a lot of boos in the last match played at the stadium against Juventude for the Copa do Brasil, even with the win. So he's taking advantage of this period away from home, if we can put it that way. Even with the fans always showing up in large numbers to get a better read on things, to ease the pressure a little. And of course, I'm Isa Hanola, São Paulo's reporter here at Lance. All the information about São Paulo and throughout this preparation, keeping an eye on Bahia, keeping an eye on the upcoming competitions and the next games, you can follow here at Lance.
So did you like this video? So like it, share it with your friends, and take the opportunity to subscribe to our channel, right? And turn on the bell to get notifications for all the content published here on Lance TV.